Yo, 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 it's your boy Triple BLACK, aka the number one stunner, aka the boss, aka three black hearses. It's murder. Anyways, man, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link. Everybody's always welcome here, man. Just you know, having some grown man conversation, and I think it's important. To have these conversations and stuff like that. I was, talking to a young man a couple weeks ago, and I just had a vivid dream about my father, and it just made me think of him, and only things that he taught me that at the time I wasn't really listening to, um, but he actually showed me a couple things, and um, a couple things were that it's when I reflect, man, and I'm like, man, you know what? This was a gem that my dad gave me, and had I followed it, the trajectory of my life would have been probably um, a lot different. It would have been a lot different. Um, but there's certain things that as a man only your father can teach you, and you have to be open, and it doesn't matter what age you are. you know a lot of those gems are going to be relevant throughout your life, and you got to soak those things in. And and I think uh one of the sad things is, um a lot of kids don't have that type of influence in their life, so they got to learn the hard way. And a lot of times they don't realize that these things don't change. You know, if you continue to do the same thing over and over, you're going to probably yield the same result. So, uh, last week I had my son, and and I noticed my son. He was craving my attention. I was working, I was watching him working. You know, but he was craving my attention, and uh, he wanted to soak up a lot of stuff, man. And the thing about it was, I realized that there's going to be a lot of stuff that you say around them, that you say around kids in general, that will have an everlasting effect on their life. And uh, I just started to get in reflection mode. I was thinking of so many different things that my dad taught me, and you know what? I got really emotional, because he really set me up, because he was in my life. I mean, was he a perfect person? No, he wasn't a perfect person, but he gave me so many gems throughout life, um, that at the time I had no idea that he was actually me teaching me something. He was teaching me a lot, you know. My dad was a very anal retentive person, and he was inflexible to a point where it was kind of very annoying. But uh, at the time, I didn't really realize that what he was teaching me was very important in life in general. It was discipline, you know. Um, I mean, he was a very disciplined person, and one of my biggest deficiencies, and this is self-admitted, is I'm not a very disciplined person, very inconsistent. Um, and my dad gave me that gem, and I just didn't really pay attention to it. I didn't really listen. But it just discipline alone and focus will take you long will take you long way in life. You gotta you gotta learn to do without. I remember a couple instances, man. My dad, he was at the time I thought he was a very cheap person. You know, he was a very cheap person. I remember um, we there was you see like those Jiffy Grums at the store, and he had a dollar and a quarter, and they were like 25 cents or something like that. And he and I remember he was just like the cashier said it was 27 cents. He had a dollar and a quarter, and he was like, "Oh, you know what? Forget it. I don't need the gum that bad. I'll just keep my dollar and a quarter." And I was just like, "Man, just give him a dollar." You know, I like was really, you know, Adam. I was like, "God, Dad, you're being ridiculous." You know, what's happening, man? What's happening, Prince Paul? I mean, Prince Pierre. My bad. Hey, man, I'm just chilling, man. Just getting up on here, trying to talk some grown man shit, man. What's good with you, homie? What's good with you, man? You're welcome up to come up, man, if you want to chop it up a little bit. Chopping it up by everything, you know. I'm just talking about like little gems that my father gave me. That at the time I didn't realize what type of gem that he was giving me, you know. And I think that's very important. You know, I'm not saying that if you don't have your father in your life, you can't get these gems from other people, but I'm just, you know, reflecting on how important it is, you know, to listen because some of these gems that you get, you know, early in life, you know, especially from the male presence in your life, it could be your grandfather, your uncle, whatever. Um, pay attention, pay attention. The story I was just giving, you know, my dad was like, nah, you know what? He was always strategic thinking, you know, he could have paid, you could have took that dollar, right, and broke it up. His thought his thought process was, listen, um, if I break this dollar, that means I'm gonna have a whole bunch of change, and who knows what I'll do with that change. Why not just keep it and go without, live another day? And you know that was you know very when you look at it, it was very reflective uh, to a point because you know what? Remember the times where you just spun frivolously, you know, instead of wasting that 25 cents or 27 cents that you could have went without, you know, why not just save it? You know, imagine if you would have done that, if you're disciplined to do that every time, you know, you won't, you know, you won't live in a perpetual cycle maybe of, you know, being broke or anything like that. Um, Another lesson that my dad taught me, well, I don't think he was trying to teach me, but if I would have paid attention, was the fact that I remember, you know, when he'd be driving, um, and if you're getting near like halfway point, he would automatically stop, you know, in gas and stuff like that. Um, he would stop and go get gas, and I remember like he would only pump gas in the same gas station. He would pump 93, get you know, whatever the full tank was. Um, 93, it was a Super America, and he had to have the first pump. I remember I witnessed my dad would sit there and wait until he got that first pump. He would only actually pump at that first pump, and to me, it was ridiculous. But the lesson was it was discipline. He was disciplined enough to do those things. You know, don't I'm not driving past a halfway point on my cars. I mean, I remember he had a Regal. It was like a Buick Regal, one of those old school Regals, and he would do that. I mean, that was just discipline. Uh, I remember every Friday when you get a paycheck, when you used to work and stuff like that. I mean, we would have to go to the bank, same bank, Bank of America. At the time, it was called, I think it was, I can't remember what it was called, Barnett Bank. Down in Florida, it was, it's called Barnett Bank. He would first lane every time the drive through, cash his check, make sure all the money was there, and then deposit the whole thing. He cash a check, make sure all the money was there, and then he'll deposit the whole thing. And you know, and that was another lesson that about discipline. Especially being disciplined with finances. That could have um, changed the trajectory of my life. I would have a lot more resources. Instead of going uh, and not being disciplined, end up spending frivolously. Next thing you know, you're in a hole. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and all this type of stuff. So um, it was it was a gem. Um, my another lesson about just finances in general. Because I always my dad always use the resources. And you got to think about. Let's put this in context, right? My dad was a Haitian immigrant, came to the States. Even after he passed away, he just didn't speak English. For some reason, he was always had that entrepreneur spirit where he was always going to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? He had to do things a certain way. He had to do everything a certain way. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. He had to do things a certain way. Um, but a lot of times, man, it's your father that's going to teach you discipline. And I remember, to this day, um, I really gained my mother's spending habits, and all throughout life, that is really got me in trouble a little bit. In trouble a little bit because um, again, when it comes to discipline, a lot of times it's going to be your father that teaches you that, or your uncle, your grandfather, and even my homeboys, um, even my homeboys told me about how what influence like their grandfather um, had on them. You know the influence they their uncles and stuff like that taught them. A lot of times, man, it's gonna be your father that teaches you a lot of stuff. And young men, especially if you have your father around, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, pay close attention. I was telling this young guy, man, um, he didn't have his, he don't have his, I mean, his father is around, but they don't have a close relationship. I guess he reaches out to his father every once in a while. And I was like telling him, man, listen, man, I went, before I lost my father, I lost my father at 29. I went through like a whole period of time, me and him, you know, would be in the same room, and we'll be in the same room and we wouldn't even talk to each other at all. I was mad about some stuff that thought he was doing with my mom, but that was another lesson, man. Mind your business. Mind your business. A lot of times, man, what grown folks are going through, man, are nothing or have nothing to do with you. Do not pick sides. Don't pick sides. You know what I'm saying? You know, I I know sometimes it's hard for a lot of people to let go of the past. You know, oh, my dad did this or my dad did that. When they're gone, they're gone. Um, there's certain second chances um, that you'll never get in life. Um, and you got to know that the only thing that's in a person's life is not, that's not infinite is time. It's time. There's only 60 seconds in a minute. There's only uh, what is it? 60 minutes in an hour. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 365 days in a year. I mean, it's limited, man. You can't get back that time. You can't get back that time, so you got to use it wisely. And if you're estranged from your father, if the lines of communication are broken down, you know, sometimes in life, man, you got to understand you got to take the initiative. You know, if you got to put 99% and they put in 1%, it might be worth it in the end because there are going to be some lessons, there are going to be some things, some experiences that you can only get from your father or, you know, the male influence, your grandfather, your uncle, or whoever that nobody else is going to give you. You got to understand that there's going to be some stuff that you're going to learn in life that you can only got from certain people. And that's what's that's the thing. One thing, this quote, I forgot where I got it from. It says that, and this is the mistake a lot of people make. You know, even when I was in, you know, my 27, you know, think you know it all. You know, you graduate from college, you got you a decent job. You know, you all of a sudden you just think you better than, you know, the people that made you. You know, you start acting, you know, accordingly, and then you start to reflect about different things that they, you know, did for you after the fact while they're gone. Like, man, damn, they were way ahead of the curve, man. They knew a lot more than me. They knew a lot more than me. But uh, I remember um, when I was going off to college, right? Um, my dad used to do, you know, he basically used to loan people money, and he would charge them an interest rate. You know, this is interest rate, and basically, you know, say if they gave you $1,000, you give them $1,000, they pay you $200 in interest every month, you know, until they couldn't pay it no more. I mean, unless they want the only way they would get out of it is um, they would have to pay you that month of interest and get out. So I know it sounds bad. It's like it's almost I don't know if it's, but anyways, I'm not implicating myself. But anyways, I remember in college, man, that interest that I used to get, you know, man, you know, $200 in college, man, it used to go a long way, especially if you're a broke student, no job, just studying, playing football, and that whole thing lasted, you know, to I was getting that $200 like clockwork, you know, and that was um that was a lesson that again my dad taught me. You know, it's passive income. At the time, I didn't really realize it, but it's passive income. Um, and and the people that really make it in life, you know, as far as you know, when it comes to finance, usually have multiple streams of passive income. You know, and there's people that are making money while they sleep. They make more money while they sleep than they actually do when they clock in every day to go to work. and and my dad, he was a guy that had all those streams of income. You know, he had a whole bunch of streams of income. You know, didn't have a regular 9 to 5 job. He uses all his resources. Down here where I'm at, there's a large Haitian community, and a lot of people are immigrants, and they need a ride to work. And my dad used to have these agreements with different people, and you'll have like these large hotels that have um, you know a lot of people that work from the same neighborhood and everything like that. And he used to have to take my mom to work, pick her up, and she had a whole bunch of people that lived around us. So basically, he would um, do transportation. He had 5 or 6 people. Um, you know, they pay him every 2 weeks. Boom, there's an income right there. All he did drive to work, pick them up, and then when they get their paycheck, they pay him. I mean, it's an easy concept. Um, Another stream of income my dad used to have. A lot of people would want to get cars, right? He had an agreement with with a guy that had an auctions license, right? Even though my dad didn't have the auctions license, so what my dad would do was um, he would basically find out whoever needed a car, and he would basically broker the deal. He would take his little cut um, of hooking the dude with the auction license. With that, you'll charge him a flat fee. He'll get the dude with the auction license, and boom, take him, drive him to the auction. I mean, that would be part of the services. Boom, get the money. Yeah. And he used to do a whole bunch of stuff. He had a great relationship with attorneys. He had a great relationships with the attorneys, and let's just say I'm not gonna go too much into that, but if somebody needed representation, um, you know, that referral fee would be a handsome little, you know, incentive. Um, but he had all these, these little things. I mean, now reflect, like my dad had at the time. Man, he really, if I would have really paid attention to him and all these different gems that he was giving me about life, about people, about finance, about family or whatever, uh, I tell you what, I wouldn't have made a lot of mistakes, man. You know, um, there's a lot of mistakes that people make, especially when they don't have any guidance, they don't have any type of mentorship. And I think in a society now, a lot of these kids grow up and they see the imagery instead of going to the people that's been through it. They trust the imagery that they see on the internet. The internet is just a microcosm of life. Um, you see all the pretty stuff. You don't see the bad stuff. And a lot of times, man, the bad stuff can only be taught by certain individuals in your life. Um, which when you're a man, a lot of times it's your father. Nobody else is gonna give you that gem. Nobody else is gonna give you those gems. So there's a bunch of hidden gems that your only fathers can teach you, man. And that's why it's very important um, that we get this type of knowledge out there. I know a lot of people, in this space, you know, talk about women, talk about um, women's nature, the whole red pill stuff, which is fine. Um, it One thing that you always going to have to understand is, when it comes, and my dad taught me this too, and it to this day, it's kind of helped me in a way. Um, it's it's kind of helped me in a way is don't listen, especially to what women are talking about. A lot of times it's just a bunch of nonsense. And what a lot of people, a lot of men do, um, is they find themselves being inundated in these stupid conversations about nothing. And I remember, so many times that my dad would be um, getting cursed out, getting yelled at, or talk. My mom would be just berating him, right? And he would just look at her, and he would just sit on the couch. I mean, not even paying attention, not even just let her talk, let her talk, let her talk, let her talk, let her talk. And instead of getting emotional and getting up and trying to argue with her, he just kind of let it go. He just didn't really engage because obviously she was trying to get a rise out of him. And that indifference made all the difference in the world because he didn't go into that, engaging and trying to argue the point and chasing his tail. And and that's another thing that men, only your dad can teach you that stuff. You know what I'm saying? only your dad can teach you that type of stuff. But I remember, even when I was married, getting in to these useless conversations that usually used to be like time drains, time drains. And had I learned that, it would have I mean, it would have saved me on a lot of wasted time. And he told me that. He's like, man, never listen to what they say because most of the time they don't even believe what they're talking about. So if you believe them, all you're going to do is just give them validation for the fuckery. So kind of let it go. Just let it go. And the thing about it was, he would just she would be saying all these damn things, right? And he would just say one thing, and then it would completely shut down the conversation. Didn't have to say a whole bunch of stuff. But the lesson in it is power in silence, man. There's power in silence. Um, and that was a hidden gem that my dad gave me, but I didn't really pay attention to. What was it say? I was about to say the quote earlier. It said, "When you act like you know nothing, the world will give you everything that you need. If you act like you know everything, the world will give you nothing." So usually, where I can remember, she would be berating him on certain things, and he would just be listening and listening and listening and listening. And um, I guess he would figure out what the hell she really wanted, went through, and then he would just put that out there, and it would shut down the conversation. It would shut down the conversation real fast. Instead of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, be quiet, analyze, and try to decipher what she really wants or what she's really talking about. And a lot of times, actions speak louder than words. Here, this is what you wanted. Boom. Because very rarely they'll come and say what they really want. They want you to read their mind. Um, that's another thing, you know. But yeah, was it the other day? I was again, I was watching. I was, working, and when I got done from work, um, I was, you know, talking to my son, help, just, you know, just playing with him and everything like that. And I'm a big football fan. I would love to see my son play football. And I noticed that my son is a very aggressive kid. He's a very aggressive kid. Um, very, just full of energy. One of the things is he's very he kind of almost does what he wants. That's kind of like the personality that he probably got from me. He kind of does what he wants. Sometimes he wants to listen to whatever. He kind of it's like in his own world. So, but you can see that yearning, for attention from me, and he wants to be taught. He wants to learn. He wants to do all those things. Um, you can just tell. But I was just like I told him to come over here. Let's work on the football stance, right? You're gonna be a, because me and my buddy was chopping it up. He's like, yeah, because he coached football before. I was just like, man, how do you really get these kids to pay attention? He was like, well, you just got to be patient. You just got to work with them, you know. So I was just like, all right, let me be patient. And I called my son over here because I remember he used to run through the house. Says, I'll be like, down, said, hood. And he'll be like running, like, just running. He don't know what he's doing. He's just running. But as soon as he heard those, down, said, hood, hood. And, I went through the whole process. I'm like, listen, Frankie, here, stand. And then I fixed his stance. At first he didn't want to, but we went through it over and over for about, 30 minutes, about 30, 45 minutes. And then he got it. He got the stance, and then he got exactly the direction. And, and then it was amazing, just after that, just me, wasn't yelling at him or anything like that. It was just like, um, here's your football stance, Frankie. And I had orientation the other day, and with at a school, and I was just testing him. Um, I went, um, I was like down, said, and then my son, well, not even a thing. He just went right and got in the stance, and he did everything I taught him. I mean, it was amazing. It was just amazing how no cupcake goes on. Good day. Hope you are well. I hope you are well too, Misha. Misha, shout out to Misha, man. Check her out. I still haven't been to her channel yet, man. But thanks for coming through and showing some love, man. Just chopping it up. Some good vibes. Drunk and crazy. Vibes. Shout out to Misha. I guess we were chopping it up the other night on Sir Ism show. Shout out to Sir Ism. Shout out to the fam. It's a cool group of people that congregate these different streams and chop it up. It's like a family, man. I could say that, man. It's like a family. It might get live a little bit sometimes. It might get out of control a little bit, man. Oh, you have no channel. Oh, man. Yeah, Misha, you didn't get a channel, man. You know what I'm saying? The thirst is real out here for you, man. I know you had a dating show. I know you had a dating show. Shout out to Platinum, man. Shout out to Kuda. Shout out to the whole gang. You hear me? Prince P came through the building. Mace Taggart, man. All those cats, man. Cool vibes, man. But just talking about just the father's influence, man. On their kids, man. I mean, uh, it's a unique experience. No, you should do it, man. You should do it. You should definitely do it. You show a lot of support to a lot of different people. And I'm sure they'll show you the love back. So it's do it, man. Like I tell you what, man. I, judging from what I seen of some of the conversations that you have, I think a lot of men can benefit from those conversations because I don't think, and this is my conjecture, it doesn't seem like you have some type of, you know, male hate or some type of agenda or anything like that. I think I think the conversations that you have, what I've seen so far, are pretty genuine. So it's good to have that type of energy instead of like this one up energy, or people trying to make people look silly, or who hurt you, boo, or all that type of stuff. So I I think it might be useful. It definitely would be probably beneficial to you to monetarily, because dudes, especially in space, um follow, they follow, good looking women, and women, um women's, just like a genuine conversation with a woman, because I think a lot of men, whenever they do interact with a lot of women, it's like that pressure to to look, alpha, or to look like whatever, instead of having a genuine conversation, and trying to understand uh, what how women think, how women act. Um, you know, it's good to have those type of things, man. Yeah. No problem, man. No problem. Some people, man, you can kind of, you can, you can, you can, you can read somebody's energy a lot of times through their voice, and to what they say, the conversations that they're willing to have. Um, that's the thing I can pick up on when I see you, talk on the panels and things like that. There's a couple other people, like was it PC Dragon? She be on Ism's channel. She I can see that the conversations that she's willing to have, I think a lot of times are very constructive. And also Topaz, shout out to her. I think she has a channel too. Um, yeah, but um, you don't get that. That's why, Misha, a lot of things. I think a lot of people in this space um, do mess with you. uh, when I'm just saying, like, they have you on the panels, and chopping it up, because you do display some a kind of genuineness. I can't really put my finger on it, and um, you can tell it right away. There's a couple people that you can tell that have, you know that are, let me just say, like, good faith conversations. You know what I'm saying? Really good faith conversations. Like, what's the other lady, Toya? She's cool. I really like Sister George. Sister George, I prejudged her. I thought she was like all about, like, sisterhood, like, let me let me make you do this, and that, and then the concrete. And there's some good women. I must admit, on these spaces, I mean, some of these content creators are pretty good, and then you got some bad ones. Got some bad ones. They're both lovely ladies. If I start a channel, I would get a lot. Uh, I mean, you're going to get a lot of hate, of course, of course, of course, of course. I mean, um, that's the thing, and I'm glad that you brought that up. You, I'm glad that you brought that up, because, again, um, mm, as a man, you got to be focused on your purpose, or just in general, in people in general. You got to focus on your purpose, man. You definitely got to focus on your purpose. It's because the thing about it is, no matter what you do that's good in life, you're going to have detractors. You're going to have detractors. I mean, it's almost a given. It's almost a given. And I think a lot of people need to be honest with themselves. And have you ever heard of the sayings that some people are scared of success? The reason that they're scared of success is all the different things that come with success. Um, there's going to be, in every successful circle, you're going, I mean, anybody that's ever been successful at anything, like really successful, you're going to have detractors. You're going to have detractors. And the thing about the detractors, this is the thing. You ever heard the saying that the weakest person in the room is always usually the loudest one? And that's the thing that scares a lot of people off. And I think when you are being genuine, when you are being honest, when you are uh living, your purpose, and telling your truth or whatever, for every one of them, there's probably going to be 10 people, maybe, that are not as vocal behind the scenes, that really mess with you, that really, um, that you're helping, that's really soaking it in. Um, one of the sad realities of what you're just saying, that you're going to get a lot of haters. Um, um, it's a lot of these things that are being revealed in this manosphere, um, are unflattering things. They're unflattering. They're very unflattering, and I can understand why a woman would not want uh, to to really be truthful about stuff, because it's going to shed a lot of women in a bad light. That's why you get, a lot of people that get so triggered, when you are telling the truth. Um, when you're telling the truth, a lot of people get triggered. I mean, it's just the unflattering thing, and I can see why, you know, um, why some women don't want to do that. Like Misha, she's like, I also need to put the time and the energy and commitment if I do start a channel, and now it's just not the time. No, I believe you. No, I mean, there is a lot of time and energy. It may not be the time, but I mean, the thing about it is, if you wait a year, you're gonna look back at that time and be like, man, you know what? I could have probably made a difference or whatever. Um, like I said earlier before, time is not infinite. Time is not infinite. Time is not infinite. I mean, there's only 60 seconds in a minute. There's only 60 minutes in an hour. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 365 days in a year. You got to realize that. And the thing about it is, if you do have some value that you can bring, especially in this era that we're living in. We're living in an information era, internet era. You can reach a lot of people, and the thing about it is your experience, could help a lot of people. I remember, I was a little incoherent or whatever. One of the discussions that we got into, is a co-parent relationship. And the co-parent relationship, I think, because you are in that co-parenting relationship, and you've been in that co-parenting relationship, there's a lot of insight. There's a lot of things that you could offer, especially when somebody's going through that can change the trajectory. It might be one thing that you could say, one experience that you share, one revelation that you made, that you had, through that co-parent relationship, that can actually change somebody else's life. Uh, was it Zig Ziglar, one of the famous salespeople, very great motivational speaker? He said, man, sometimes, man, you get everything in life if you help one person get everything that they want. So it's going to take a lot of energy. It takes a lot of work. And the thing about it is there's going to be a lot of emotional points that you probably are going. I mean, a lot of veins are going to be struck even in your life, and especially if you put yourself out there when you if you are really telling, the pitfalls. If you're really telling the the uh, the the mistakes that you make. Again, a lot of those mistakes are probably water under the bridge, but uh, those experiences and someone that's credible that's going through it could help somebody else with it. And you know, this is the second year of a co-parenting relationship that I have. Um, and you didn't say it. One thing that I did pick up it um, there from the start. I mean, anybody that comes through one of those experiences right out the gate and think there's not going to be some work, there's not going to be no arguments, it's going to be fun and games, you just break up and then all of a sudden you become two parents on the same page. No, it doesn't happen like that. There's going to be a lot of work. Sometimes uh, I think people don't, I mean, when you go through that experience and and you're very naive, especially anybody would be naive to think that um, it's going to be 50-50. Um, both people are going to put skin in the game. No, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You might have one person that's going to put 80% of the skin in the game, and then you have a person that has 20% in the game. But you have a lot of times you end up having situations where one person gives nothing and the other person gives everything. You know, and in those situations have a lot of that are very. It's not that it's of course it's most detrimental to the children, but mm, a lot of times it's going to be detrimental to the both adults. Um, mental health, because those things fester. They fester, and they come out in other ways that you'll never that you never seen coming. Some people will gain habits like alcoholism, drug addiction, food addiction, and because they're not all right, they rather be right about something and have their mental health destabilized than to just to like be like, hey, you know what, this is what I need to do, or I'm wrong, or blah blah blah, and then you get to that place of understanding, forgiveness, or commitment. But the thing about it is that you have these relationships. You have sometimes both sides or one side holding a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of resentment, and all that does is just it taxes on a person's mental health. I had to understand that. I had to understand that for me to think it's going to be a 50-50 relationship where everybody has the best interest of whatever. No, it's never like that, because some people have that. I mean, now, can you get to a place where it does? Yes, yes. Yeah, it's never 50-50. I agree with you on that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's never going to be a 50-50. I mean, it could be. It could be. I mean, it takes time. It takes time. It takes a lot of work, you know. And that's the thing. It's in anything in life, when you have the word relationship, um, relationship. Not when I'm talking about, even a co-parenting relationship, it's work. It's work. It's work. It doesn't matter what relationship that um that you're coming in life. It could be a father son relationship, a mother daughter relationship. It takes work. It takes work. Some people are going to put more skin in the game, and some people are going. I mean, there's a giver and a taker. Some people are going to take more than they give. Some people are going to give more than they take. You just got to be understanding that. And the thing about it is you got to really understand what the goal is. What the goal is. What is the goal? You have a relationship with someone, for a purpose, for some type of goal, some type of end result. If you're in business, you have a relationship with a client, and there's got to be some type of in purpose. You get your commission, you help them grow, whatever they're trying to grow, they're trying to do their business. That's what the relationship is. Now, um, if you're a customer, but those relationships are a little bit nuanced because there's got to be some type of benefits on both sides. If you are not giving much to the client, and the client is giving more to you, most of the time that client is probably going to go find somebody else that gives them uh, the value that they need. But you know and it's the thing. It's like in a co-parenting relationship, um, for that co-parenting relationship to work, there got to be compromises. Uh, there's got to be compromises. Got to be some type of thing. Sometimes you got to give more than you take. Sometimes you got it's it's a relationship. It's hard. It's not an easy thing. If it was easy, um, you know, most people that break up, it would be like clockwork. The fun, you know, they would still have both, parents, in the situation. But most of the time, people don't want to do that work. You don't want to do that work. I mean, it's hard. Like for instance, if you have, let's just say if you have a co-parenting relationship, one person is married and the other person is single, and and they're especially if you're a man, like say if your son is under somebody else's roof, most of the time, a lot of times they're going to be under somebody else's governance most of the time. I mean, for a man, that's a very, very, very hard pill to swallow. I mean, you got to put a lot on the sideline, your pride, all those type of things, especially if you sometimes you got to put the past. Imagine if you had a toxic relationship with the person that you're trying to co-parent. Now they're under somebody else's guidance, and you know and they're under somebody else's direction or somebody else's agency, and there's a lot of compromise. There's going to be a lot of compromise that has to be made in that interaction, and because it's so hard, a lot of people just check out. It's just easier for me to just pay the money, and see them, maybe like on the holidays or something like that, or, you know, um, being a weekend dad, or, maybe it's because it's hard work. It's hard work. Relationships are hard work. I'm not talking about sexual relationships. I'm not talking about those. I mean, those things are hard work. It's just hard work. And people don't like hard work a lot, man. But shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to Misha, man. I got 5 in the box, man. That's an all-time high. Damn. Triple BLACK is getting 5 in the box now. Hey, listen. Listen, y'all, hey, y'all YouTubers. Uh-oh. No, I ain't see you. You didn't have to leave the box anyways. No, it's and what I was just talking about right now is Misha, was talking about the channel, how it's going to be hard work, not hard work, but it's going to take a lot of time commitment. It will take a lot of time commitment. It's one of those things that um, you gotta, you know, if it's something that you're thinking about and something that you want to do, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to do yourself a disservice if you don't suck it up and do it, because um, if you wait a year, you're going to be behind, like, you're going to be, and then most likely, if it's something that you're passionate about, you can be like, man, look, if I would have started like a year ago, look how far I would be, look how far I would be. Um, but then again, if it's something that you're very indifferent about, something that you're not passionate about, then it's probably not, you probably shouldn't even, you should wait your turn, you know. But the approach too, man, the approach too. You know how they say that if you do something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life, and that's a very true statement. You know, um, and the thing about it is there's a lot of logistical things that you have to do behind the scenes to that I mean, that can be very time consuming, and it depends on what type of person you are too. If you're a very organized person, it may be second nature to you. You can get up very easy to do it. The reason I don't do a lot of streams is because I admit I'm not a very organized person. I'm scatterbrained I mean, I'm very scatterbrained. I'm like one of those people, like, one minute I'll be thinking about this, and another minute I'll be like on something else, and I don't really I don't think the real discipline to do that, to be on this, full time, making of thumbnails, scheduling things like that, because this is second tier to me. See, man, I'm almost at 5,200 subscribers. I've been fully monetized, for a while. I mean, I just came to the realization, this is really not my more. I mean, I'm more of just an orator, and like I like to do mostly just talking. I'm a talker. I'm a I'm a talker. That I think that's what my strength. So uh, I just like to do that. I'm more interested in that part of the game. So I don't take anything else seriously. But now, I don't. This is not an income stream that I depend on. If I can make, a super chat or two, or um, you know, make a video that, that's monetized or whatever. Um, that's I mean, I'm very indifferent. I don't really depend on it. A lot of times it's mostly therapy. You know, it's therapeutic to get on as a content creator. I used to, you know, I was very passionate about it at one time, and that's the and the reason I was let me take a step back. Yeah, I was giving Misha a little bit of insight on that whole thing, because she said she's going to get a lot of hate from the women, and I remember when I kind of first started, podcasting and stuff like that. Um, I would have a lot. I mean, I had a couple detractors, and the crazy part about it was the main detractor lived under the same roof. Lived under the same roof. And one of the worst mistakes that I made is I let, the vocal detractors kind of take me off my square, um, and kind of listen to them, and then started listening to some of the criticism and stuff like that. And then I'll give an example. I'll give an example. I remember uh, I used to use these sound bites, like this is 5 years ago. Man, craziest one. Well, the crazy part about it is a lot of the sound bites that I had used in the past. Man, I don't know if it's just by pure coincidence. A lot of them are God. I mean, like, so many of those sound bites are now being used on the regular, which is crazy to me. hmm So many sound bites. Maybe it was like the sound bites that you use for YouTube or whatever. Because I used to have a soundboard or whatever. I remember this one guy. I even did an interview for him, uh, and he started. He said he's like, yeah, man, your sound bites are you got to stop. It's getting old or whatever. But those were like my signature. It was like my signature stuff. And then me start. I really listened to that criticism, and I tried to switch it up. And I was like listening to a couple of my podcasts that I did. I was like, damn, like I you really let that negative feedback really take you off your square. And somebody told me, one of the listeners that I used to have on my podcast was like, man, he's like, man, why you switch it up, man? He's like, yeah, man, I love your intros and stuff like that. Even though they were long, but they were um, they were fun to listen to. They were fun to listen to your intros, where you would be playing the music, you'd be using the gunshots, you use the little sound clips, these little sunny found us, and you'd be having like these laughing things, these little breaks and things like that. Those were really, those were really unique. Those were really unique. Somebody told me that, and I remember I was like, God, wow. I remember this critic told me, man, you know what, these are really annoying and blah blah blah. And then I had another person told me, he's like, man, you switch it up, man. Damn, you used to have those intros, man. I'd be laughing and you know, you use them sound bites and I was just like, wow, wow. And I went uh and I had to reflect back on that. And I was just like, wow. I used to like, produce like really edit, produce my podcast, and at the time, um, it was very, it was a very like a time consuming thing to do. But because of that whole criticism that I actually paid attention to, I started to get lax on my production, and then next thing you know, I'm just um, putting out just recording shit, not really editing it and using thumbnails and all this type of stuff, and it just kind of just went sour. I mean, just went kind of went south, and I became unmotivated. And instead of doing a podcast a week, I started maybe every 2 weeks or maybe when I felt like it. But that whole thing just kind of took the whole trajectory of the momentum that I had and kind of put a kibosh on it because I'm sitting here being self-conscious about something that I don't really need to be self-conscious about, because the numbers and everything were showing that, hey, man, people fuck with you, man. Your shit is dope. You know what I'm saying? Even people that I respected, they were giving me compliments on, man, no cupcake zone. And then, start having people it's like, oh yeah, man, why don't you do no cupcake zone no more, man? And then, you listen to some people be like, ah, bro, man, those interviews that you used to do, man, I used to be at work listening to them, because I used to interview, you know, sports legends, local sports legends, coaches, even street guys, talk about like, trials and tribulations and all those type of things, and and then the thing about it after I kind of like halted everything, you like uh where I'm going with this was there were some people that were very vocal about how terrible or not good or what I should be doing. And I was paying attention to those few people, and that started to have an effect on me, doing the podcast and everything. So I started to listen to them because some come self-conscious, and it was kind of a demotivating thing. You know what I'm saying? It was a demotivating thing, and then next thing you know, because I was listening to those people, I basically stopped everything, and because I had all the momentum going, and I had, I was doing really good. You know what I'm saying? I was really doing really good, and then afterward, a slew of people that really like, the content that I was putting out, the interviews, everything about, thing, they everywhere I would go, they would ask, "Oh man, you don't talk, when you gonna get another episode, man?" This person, I mean, it was like sometimes it was overwhelming, and I got reached out to um, my buddy uh, Andrew, and we did Big Dream Sports, was a sports show, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'd like to for you to, because I had interviewed him on my show, and got a good response, and he loved, the content that I was putting out, so he wanted me to join the team, and he already had a team of people that produced his show, and I was just like, man, I can just go on here um granted, I already had sponsors and everything. I had sponsors on my podcast. People were paying me to do, to advertise their stuff. I had an insurance company, and still the vocal people that were critics still got me to pretty much stop my thing. And that was a big lesson. And then when I got on the other show, people recognized me, recognized my voice, and they were like, man, I got a lot of hate like in the thing because I would say some controversial stuff. I was a guy that like I would go there. I would be the first person to wherever controversy goes, I would go there, and I would just, I kind of, I was everybody would be like coy on certain topics, but I'll be like, nah, hell nah. Let me go ahead and tackle this, and people started to respect that, and people started to really give me confidence, that what I was doing was a good thing, and to this day, people still talk about it. I mean, the show that I came on, I mean, we used to do on Facebook before. I mean, this is like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, probably about 4 years ago. You know, on Facebook, to get 100 people in the box was damn near impossible. We used to have 120, people in the box listening to our live show. We didn't really do YouTube, but I mean, I can imagine what the numbers would have been if we would have did new YouTube. But Facebook. I mean, this is our following was even organic. I mean, even when Facebook was charging for Facebook ad, that's what the way that you can get on is if pay for Facebook ad. We were still getting great numbers, and and we given the personal circumstances and stuff like that, I pretty much uh, had to kind of stop doing it because um, the success that we were having or was having, believe it or not, was sometimes I mean, it felt like a real threat to the person that was in my life. That was crazy as hell to me. Uh, it was crazy as hell to me, man. And you got to. That's one thing I have to. I hope that I know some of this stuff that I was just saying went off a tangent, but you have to be totally confident in what you're saying and your abilities because you will be surprised. Even some of the people that are closest to you are going to be some of your biggest detractors. And the reason that is because a lot of those people have the biggest influence on you. And you're going to take their advice harder. But the thing is, and you got to be disciplined enough to do this, man, is when you see those people, especially those people that that are close to you are detractors, push the gas on them. Push the gas on them. Because the thing about it is if you can figure out your success is a threat to them and what they're saying is getting to you, the only way that you get back at them is you push the gas harder and you become more successful. You got to become more successful. You need detractors. You need detractors. You need them. I mean, sometimes it is the fuel that you need to make it in life. You got to like you need detractors, man. You need detractors because a lot because you know sometimes the fans are not enough motivation, those pats on the back or whatever like that. Some people find that as fuel, but sometimes those one or two or those people that are haters that go out of their way to kind of halt your production or kind of uh you know kind of stop you. Those are the people you need the most. You need that. You need that. You know what I'm saying? That's a very motivational factor. Like, those people that want to, sink your ship. You got to make them pay for it. You got to make them pay for it, man. You got to make them pay for it. Because that's if you, especially if you want to get back at them, the only way that you get back at them is success. Because the thing about it is, if they can take you off your square, if they can get you to stop what you're doing, if they can crash your ship, that is going to be the biggest validation that they have. They can be like, I told you. You would, no, you, I told you your stuff was trash. I told you you wasn't good enough. I told you, this, don't let them get that victory on you, man. Don't let them get that victory on you because you're gonna look back at it and you're gonna be like, oh my God, I cannot believe this person got me off my purpose. I cannot believe this person tricked me off the yeah. It's like those people that when people like you know how when they say like don't let people trick you off the streets. Yeah, don't let people trick you off the streets, man. But shout out to Misha, man. Shout out to Misha, man. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate people coming through and stuff like that. Um, yeah, it's gonna be hidden gems, man. Your dad is gonna give you, man. But there's a lot of hidden gems too, man. And uh, just in life, it's like very rarely, or your biggest fans will let you know that you're fans. Very rarely, very rarely. You know, um, and the thing about it is, you got to understand that, man. Nobody really gets their flowers a lot of times when they're here. It's mostly the time when they're gone. You get your flowers. You know, and I'm learning that right now. I lost my dad in 2009, and it's 2020. I mean, it's been in a thing, and one of my biggest regrets was I didn't give him nearly as much credit um when he was here. I didn't. I took a lot of stuff for granted. I took a lot of stuff for granted that he gave me. Um, yeah, I took a lot of stuff for granted. You know, um, one of the biggest things, like even like when you look at the this space, um, um, you look at this space, like red pill content or whatever like that, man. You know, one of the biggest influences on this space that was talking about all this stuff a long time ago was Patrice O'Neill. Patrice O'Neill. If you look at some of his old videos, you will you'll be like, man, like Like, some people give him his flowers now, but you'll be like, man, Patrice O'Neal was, that dude right there was the man, man. Yeah, I mean, he was the man. A lot of people don't don't realize, he was the man. He was the man. He had, you know, this this ideology. Uh, this ideology was he was regurgitating stuff like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Um, this ideology is nothing new. Well, I mean, it's not nothing new. I guess the awareness of it, uh, of female nature, um, it's been here forever. I mean, since the beginning of time. But some of these ideas about hypergamy and those frustrating things, like I guess with uh, red pill rage and all this type of stuff, have been around for a long ass time. It's been around for a long time, man. This is a lot of this stuff is nothing new, man. It's nothing new. Um, but some of the time you'll be thinking it's new, but it's not. It's not new at all. Um, the I listen to was it Fresh and Fit podcast, Fresh and Fit podcast. What's crazy about that is um, a lot of the stuff um, that even what the dude Myron uses. Um, that's like old PUA PUA stuff. Um, old PUA stuff that he uses. During the interviews and the interactions with the females that be going coming on the panels and stuff like that, or coming on the show. It's all old PUA stuff. If you know about it, like um, basically, a lot of times dudes, have to kind of almost uh, get like females like on. They got to get them like on the ropes like early. You know, you get them trying to validate you. That's a technique that I guess the pickup artists used to use. Um, you basically get them on the ropes early, and kind of trying to fight for your validation, and it's then you can kind of control the conversation, because they're trying to now they're chasing your validation. I mean, it's old hat, man. They do a very effective job of it because of the production. Um, uh, Thank you for your input. We shall catch up soon. For sure, Misha, man. For sure, for sure. I don't got that many guests, so hey, I'm putting up every comment you have. Hey, shit, thank you for showing your support. Misha, is it uh Ma- Macarenia? Misha? I don't know if that's your nickname, but thank you for the support. Appreciate any type of support. That gives me, you know, I don't lack any confidence on anything, but that gives me, I'm happy that somebody is even listening to some of the um, advice or pointers that I give. Um, I know that you know my reputation. Somebody ever said that the other day about my reputation on these space. Like he's like, oh yeah, Triple. A lot of people don't like you. A lot of people don't like you. He's like, oh yeah, Triple. A lot of people don't like you. You do this, and I just started laughing. I just started laughing. Um, um, because the thing about it is, um, I know who I am, man. I know who I am, and I'm not really chasing that many. I mean, I'm not really chasing that many people validation. I'm at a point in my life, and the only person that really moves the needle on their opinion of me is my son. You know, that's just it's funny. Like when when my son, like I remember I was talking to my son the other day, and my son was like, "Let me call you back," or usually, because he's 5 years old. Usually, it's daddy time, and he wants to talk to dad, and he kind of like dismissed me, kind of dismissed me really fast in the conversation, and I felt some type of way about it. I really felt some type of way, and now that I know, I mean, it's like he's so important, he's very so important. So, when I look at people's opinions and things about me in general, um a lot of times I mean it's not they're insignificant. There's really insignificant. um they're really insignificant because it I think no matter what you do, you're going to have people that just don't like you. They're just not going to like you. And and I think a lot of people make the mistake of trying to chase people's validation, trying to win people over that's not going to like you anyways, because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. Yeah. I've been there. I have teenagers now. It's a whole different ball game. Yeah, it is. It's probably gonna be a whole different ball game because I remember as a teenager too, man. Um, I never really. I mean, I did not disrespect my parents, but speaking of the devil, look who's calling me now. Oh my God, you're eating a big place of food. Oh my goodness, Taco Bell. Oh no, yum. Speaking of the devil, I'm just sitting here on a stream right now talking, um, and hilarious. Oh boy, Frankie, Frankie, I'm gonna call you back, Frankie. I'm doing a stream right now. Okay, I'm a, yeah. Are you really eating Taco Bell? You couldn't make this up. I was just talking about you, little daddy, and you called eating Taco Bell. Oh man, let me call you back, Franks. I'm gonna call you back. All right, I'm gonna call you back. Let me finish this. I'm gonna call you right back. You eat that yum yum, okay? All right, bye. There you go. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. Yeah, man. Hit the bell. For real, man. Just hit the likes, man. Just don't hit the dislikes. Anyways, man, that was funny. My son is eating Taco Bell. He just won't stop eating Taco Bell. He just won't stop eating Taco Bell, man. He's just eating Taco Bell. Like I was like, what do you want to eat? Taco Bell, Taco Bell. Oh yeah, nachos, Taco Bell. Hey man, thanks JB. Thanks man. Hit the freaking bell. You already know. Um, Taco Bell. He wants to eat Taco Bell. he wants to eat Taco Bell, but my son, my son is at one of those ages where he's not saying why yet. He just kind of regurgitate whatever I say. Um, uh, thank you, Misha, man. I appreciate it enough that you came through, man. Yeah, I definitely see you soon in these YouTube streets. You know, uh, maybe one day you can jump on the thing and chop it up with me, and maybe we can talk about something constructive. Maybe talk about something business, like some business. So I got to start doing some streams and just talking about business in general. Finances, credit, those type of things. Because I do I believe in advanced knowledge on those things. I have an MBA. I also have a MPA degree. I also have a Series 763 life, health, and variable annuities. So I know a little bit about financial services, know a lot about credit. Also, I used to run, or I still do, a marketing company, and some of the content creators. Um, I think I need to chop it up with some of them too, because I know a lot about podcasting and marketing, a little bit about algorithms, all the different social media platforms, some of the nuances of it. It's some valuable knowledge, man. I would love to collaborate with anybody on here, man. Um, you know, if you got something, you're trying to sell, trying to promote, you feel me? You already know. Big Truck would be good. He is in finances. Oh yeah, I see Big Truck. Big Truck be on the streams giving giving people that work. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple of people I really enjoy listening to. I really enjoy listening to Jay Godspeed. That guy. He gives a lot of gems. He talks about health and stuff like that. Um, you know, Mace Taggart, Mace Taggart been through here, yeah, I got five in the box today. You already know what it is, man. I'm new at the streaming and stuff like that. I can't really cam up because I'm at work. This is some confidential information I can't really share. Yeah, man. Big Truck would be good, man. Got to go. Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Misha, thank you for coming through. Yeah, man. I'm probably gonna go in a little bit too, man. Yeah, his streams, man. Never really been on the streams, man. I've seen him on the different platforms. Uh, he's you know, he's very opinionated, like myself. Very opinionated, like myself. Um, doesn't waver too much on his opinion. You know, uh, I like. There's a lot of content creators I like, man. I like Little Big Nate. Um, I fuck with him. Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. But it's just so rare. Not rare, but my son just hit me up. I gotta hit him back up. Yeah, man. But I'm gonna get off the stream, man. But thank you for the people that came through. Holla at your boy. I'll probably be back on some, maybe tomorrow, and talk about something different. Um, I really want to keep talking more about this uh, these gems that you can only learn from your father. The things that only your father can teach you. I think it's very important for us to do that. And I think it's very important for us as men. Um, Even if you didn't have your father in your life, um, to really talk about the importance. Because it when we really talk about it, and because there's a lot of guys that probably have a lot of stuff that are let me see, hidden inside, hidden like, uh, let me say, uh, there um there's a lot of stuff that are internal that they don't really um aren't able aren't able to express. They're not able to express, and I think, um the more and more we can talk about this subject, the more of a push it could be, especially if they don't have their father in their life, or they don't have quite the relationship that they wanted with their father to push them. I'll be the first to say, man, not. I had a period of time where it was a very important transition in my life in general, where I was going from, I was turning 28, 27, and I'm going into my 30s, and there was so many things that I could have probably used, from my father. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really have no uncles around or anything like that. My grandfather wasn't, those people were gone a long time ago. So he was the biggest male influence in my life, other than, football coach, coaches, people like that. But uh, that transition, because the thing about it is when you're in your 20s, you're not really making that much money. You're not doing that much, you're just focused on maybe a party, chasing women, and all this type of stuff. Uh, and there was a period of time where I was, me and him weren't seeing eye to eye, and we kind of almost cut off communication. And the time that we had to get the communication back, it was she was in the hospital, being diagnosed with cancer. And even though I cherish that time that we spent, going through that whole process, but those are 2 empty years that I mean, I wish I would give anything. Had I known that it would have took me putting in most of the skin in the game, the emotional stuff, I would have, gladly did it. After the fact, I was like, damn, I wish I would have spent every moment that I could free with my dad, talking, picking his brain and things like that. So uh, I just I just want to, to really, give some of this information out there. Maybe might push a person to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Dad, you know, hey, Dad, what's up?" You know, have a conversation with him, because you never know where that conversation could go. And you know, pride and ego a lot of times keep those things from happening. And if I can be an influence on a young man to be able to pick up that phone, somebody that's 25, 26, you know, pick up that phone, even younger than that, pick up that phone and talk to their father, you know. Even if your father's not around, talk to grandpa, somebody that mentor. Um, you could gain a lot from it, even if you have to put most of the skin in the game. But a lot of times, the return that you're going to get off that emotional investment is going to be well worth it. It's going to be well worth it, because you're going to find out certain things that, um, when they're gone, um, you're going to find out certain things that's going to hurt a little bit more, because they're not there to clarify it. They're not there to put context. So even if you have a lot of resentment, pick up that phone or get in the car and make that visit. Make that visit. Um, put that emotional investment. Um, Even if you get rejected, just keep going back, because, like I said, there's certain things that are not infinite. Like time. Time is not infinite. It's only 60 seconds in a minute. 60. 60 minutes in an hour, 260, was it 365 days in a year. You only have one father and you only have one mother. Those things are not infinite. Now you can have stepfathers, you can have, godfathers, you can have grandpas, but you only got one mother and one father. So same thing with the mothers too, man. For women, men that have issues with the parent, pick up the phone, make the visit, make that emotional investment, um, because some of those questions that you have are never going to get answered unless you make that emotional investment, man. Got to make that emotional investment, man. But I got 0 in the box. People was tired of listening to me, but I'm gonna be out of here, man. How let you be? One.